Okay. All right. It's doing what it's supposed to now. All right, gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Probably Incorrect.
Is this the one where we talk about how Japan is a constitutional ethno-state?
We can certainly talk about that, and I thought you would want Tojo here for that, though.
Nah, he's a Happa. He leans into the memes too hard. He prefers the 1920s to 1945 era, not the 1948 constitutional reform.
Yeah.
So
The bento box, and he didn't want it to be pinku, and he has a kimono.
Does he own a kimono?
Look, I love Tojo. He's a good guy. He's great to get along with in person, but he really loves Imperial Japan just to an unhealthy amount.
He's
which,
probably
I
got
mean,
all of the historical accurate fucking war armors.
You know what? I fully expect him to be the sort of person to just wear samurai armor casually.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Samurai armor with a bunch of German iconography on it.
That was actually almost a thing too. Had I think it was Wilhelm's father. I can't remember his name, but his father almost married Wilhelm to a Japanese princess.
Yeah.
Nice. Should have gone for it.
Could have been a thing. Could have been a thing.
I think was it Wilhelm or was it one of his siblings that had a birth defect, that like crippled or defect?
I think it's one of the siblings.
Yeah.
Wilhelm was actually an absolute bro tier. Wilhelm II, that is. I don't know how much you know about World War II, but his generals literally made fun of him for going to the Rhine and then crying when he saw what was happening to his soldiers.
Really?
Yeah, he was literally so heartbroken by what he saw at the front in the trench war that he went and used his own personal money and invested the equivalent of like what would be today like $200 million into charity hospitals and orphanages for the orphans of war soldiers.
Wow.
Nice.
He was far and away the softest world leader of that era. But that was his problem. Wilhelm II was the sort of person that if you got along with him, you absolutely loved him, but if you didn't, you just thought he was an asshat.
Yeah.
Tsar Nicholas II famously thought Wilhelm II was just kind of a provincial ass when they first met. He even called him to his face a poorly brought up boy. But by the end of their relationship, he and the Kaiser were so close and such good friends that Nicholas entirely intended to flee to Germany, specifically for the Kaiser's protection. Like, he legitimately was going to trust Wilhelm II with his life and the life of his children.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, then the Russian royal family got murdered.
Yeah,
so.
Well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, FGO told me that.
So anyway, we got our lineup set up now. I thought we would start off with the Atlantic, talking about how white supremacy is now the most inclusive racial movement. We have all the races believing white supremacy needs to come back. That's a pretty good feather in our hat, I suppose.
To be fair, racists are the most ethnically diverse group of people. So.
Yeah.
Most inclusive group.
White supremacy. I don't know how I feel about this absolute glow up existing in the first place. Like,
yes.
It's an Indian dude who, I think he was Indian, right?
Maybe.
He's either Indian or Pakistani or some shit, right?
Yeah.
It's Indian.
whatever. So, Indian dude gets a U-Haul, doesn't fill it with anything. Like, it could have been filled with bombs. It could have been filled with guns. Like, he was going to crash through the gates and start shooting his way out or some shit. No,
Could have easily been filled with info.
it's just an empty U-Haul. And he doesn't even crash through anything. He just hits the curb and gets up a few feet. And then when the cops arrest him, they, like, unfold the Nazi flag and hold it up and put it down in front of the U-Haul
What?
for the pictures. Like, it wasn't, like, the flag wasn't even being displayed on the U-Haul. Like, he didn't, like, tape it on there and be like, oh, I'm gonna kill Joe Biden in the name of the Third Reich.
Yeah, it was
no.
in the U-Haul.
He literally, it was just sitting in there.
Yeah, it's brand new too. If you go look some of the pictures, it's like it's got the fold marks on it still and everything.
It's got the creases.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's like just purchased flag, barely even gets off the curb, and he surrenders immediately. And
Once
this
again,
is
we are
white
disappointed.
supremacy.
Once again, we are disappointed by government science.
Yeah.
Now they're dropping his charges to like some misdemeanor bullshit.
Well, yeah, because he didn't commit a crime in the first place, basically. But yeah, it's just like, okay,
You can think the
Yeah.
people who went into the fucking Congress, White House, wherever the fuck,
Yeah.
during January 6th, the people who just walked around,
Yeah.
some of them
About
have
5
been
years.
in jail for literal years at this point.
I wouldn't have
Yes.
surrendered to the cops.
Do what?
I wouldn't have been there in the first place because I thought the whole fucking shit was just dumb as hell.
Oh,
You know, I would have been more supportive of the whole January 6th, whatever the fuck that was, if they had dragged the politicians out into the street and shot them.
Yes.
yes.
But what they
Unironically,
did,
yes.
what they ended up doing instead, I thought it was just dumb as hell. They're all fucking retarded for doing it. It was just so dumb. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it's just dumb.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if they put those people in jail and have kept them there since,
Yeah.
and you'd figure that this guy who tried to drive a U-Haul into the White House
Well,
and had a Nazi flag and made all these claims, you figured they would throw him in fucking Gitmo, but no, nothing.
yeah, well, remember back on May 13th of Trump's presidency, when they gassed those protesters near the church?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those protesters actually had burned down several buildings, had actually breached the White House lawn, and set the church on fire before they gassed them.
Of course.
Yeah,
That wasn't reported.
yeah. That wasn't part of the news, though. None of them got
because
arrested.
double standards.
Yeah, none of them got arrested.
Of course not.
I mean, I'm just saying, if we had a little bit more of French influence on our political protests, I wouldn't be unsupportive
Mm-hmm.
in this one instance.
Look, we live in Louisiana. We know how to make the French cutty device.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like, if everything AOC said was gonna happen to her happens, well,
Nothing of value would be lost.
I'd be interested, but Anyway, so up next we have this fella here, this good old fella here.
That's just been submitted in Minnesota, where they're trying to chip out language with respect to pedophilia. We're
This one,
coming up on a
where
society where I think that some people don't understand that simply because you've put it in code doesn't mean you've changed the moral premise. Does anybody honestly imagine
Yeah, that was great.
that if I, as a father, caught someone sexually abusing my child, because that's what it is, it's abuse, that they could look at me and say, but it's legal, and that would have any effect on what I did next? the latest legislation that's just been submitted.
incredibly based individual here. He is a father, and he is coming out against the Minnesota lawmakers who, of course, are transgender, because why have one thing when you can have both things, I suppose.
Mhm.
Who want to remove pedophilia from the discourse of insults and whatnot, and want to put it as a protected sexual orientation.
Mhm.
And the father here is saying something very, very based and very, very sensible of what makes you think you telling me that what you just did to my daughter was legal is going to change my response to you.
Now,
Based.
this is both worse than and not as bad as a lot of people think. I think it's not as bad because these people aren't trying to pass these laws from a place of necessarily we want to molest your kids, but from a purely ideological point of view. This is worse than people think because it never stops here.
Oh, well,
It
of course
never
it never
goes
stops.
just one step.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck no.
But
So-
it's no, and it doesn't really matter whether they want to fuck a hypothetical child or not when they remove this language.
Mhm.
The fact that
Yeah,
they're removing the language at all is enough.
It's
He was on the agenda for years.
It's like sitting there and saying, like, you know, I'm not personally saying we should put minority group in a death camp, but I'm just saying if we legally change the law to allow it,
Change the definition of a death camp.
yeah, change the definition of a death camp. It's like, why are you so focused on sending the minority to the death camp? It doesn't matter how you change the words. You change the word from minority to disaffected group, and you change the word death camp to happy fun place. You still want to send them there. So why are you making a law about it if you
It
don't
doesn't
want to
matter if you
send them
just-
there?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you just say you want to send them on Mr. Bones' wild ride.
Yeah,
It's
Like-
still.
it's
What did you say, Alvin?
also the fact is that laws come from a place of normally public push to legalize or legislate a current feature of society.
Trend.
Like, for example, we didn't have laws about weed back in the 1700s because we didn't have weed. Weed comes in, people want to make laws about it. You know, it's the same shit. You know, when something new is introduced to society, society's reactions to that is laws. Whether those laws are making it illegal, or whether those laws are making it legal, whether it's defining what parts are and what parts aren't. So if someone's sitting there trying to legalize or change definitions or change how the law reacts to, in this instance, pedophilia, that means they believe there's either a public push for pedophilia, which there isn't, or they believe that there is a internal personal push for pedophilia. So it doesn't matter how much they say they don't want to fuck children. If they're the only person pushing to fuck children, then they want to fuck children.
Well, see,
Yes.
this I think is exactly what you're saying. I don't even necessarily think it's personal. I don't know if you know this, but Vaush infamously made the claim that in a social state there would be no age of consent and there would be
Yes.
no power imbalance. And the
Val's
thing
a
is,
piece of shit though.
Yeah, Val's also
Very
wants
much.
to fuck horses, so I mean, you know,
but you get the argument. He's saying that the reason why the molestation of children is immoral is because of the power imbalance. That's why they can't consent. If there is no power imbalance, they can consent. It's not just that these
No,
people are pedophiles. It's the whole train of thought. It's the whole ideology. It's the whole system that leads to that.
that makes no fucking sense. I know Vaush is fucking retarded, but that whole idea makes no fucking sense in the slightest. If there's no power imbalance, then they're not. Then there's no
The problem
adults
is-
that like children. It's not even about fucking power imbalances either. It's someone is fundamentally. If you compare a child to an adult, the child is fundamentally retarded in the medical sense when it comes to ability to make decisions, emotional capacity, empathy capacity, across the board, literally everything. The
While
child
I
is
agree
medically retarded and is incapable of making the same choices that the adult could make.
While I agree with you, these people are
I agree,
so
but there's been a
ideologically
push
committed.
among the left for years, literal decades now, to include pedophilia.
Oh
and
yeah, I know.
screen-
It's
not
because they
considered
eternally push for
it.
everything. We are being
Yes.
told back in the 2000s that signing the gay marriage bills and all that shit is going to be a slippery slope, and everyone said fuck off
No,
Christians.
it's not a slippery slope.
Yeah, everyone said
Slippery
fuck off
slope
Christians,
is a
and now here we
fallacy.
are,
No,
20
that'll
years
never
later.
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And look where we are now.
Exactly. 20 years later, look where we are now. We're talking about whether fucking children is good or bad. Apparently, that needed to be talked about. I don't know why, but here we are.
Mm. It's
If
also
you read
children.
the
Sorry.
really old social justice stuff, the French stuff,
Yeah.
they actually address this a lot.
Oh, I'm sure, because they want to fuck
so-
children.
Yeah, pretty much. I
Well,
think
French.
ultimately what this is that it is ideologically framing your personal flavor of sexual degeneracy
Yes.
and explaining why it's okay.
Yes.
Mm.
Quite literally, modern social justice is just it's just atheism going through the Christian phase where you could pay off your sins.
Yes.
Yes, but this time you don't pay it off to a higher power. You pay it off to communism or some
You
shit.
pay it off to
some
the government.
ideal, to Marxist, to the government, to Marxism, something.
Yeah. Because fucking all these people believe government is God.
Mm-hmm.
Government has become God, Daddy, the husband,
So,
etc.
speaking of retarded people in government, let's talk about retarded people in government in Europe. So the recent wealth tax increase in Norway was expected to bring in $46 million in yearly tax revenue, which honestly is not much. Instead, an estimated $54 billion worth of ultra rich left the country,
Mm-hmm.
leading to a loss in $600 million in yearly tax revenue. So they've
no.
so instead of making a positive 146 million now, they're now losing an extra 445 million.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Which means they have to tax the pros harder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People say tax the rich, but then the rich just fucking leave.
Which has been universally true across all of human history.
Mm-hmm.
The rich should not be allowed to leave.
You
Yeah,
can't
finally.
tax the rich, and you can't make CEOs take a pay cut. Ever. It's literally never worked.
Well,
Mhm.
it's very simple as why trying to regulate how much money a CEO makes no fucking sense, because they'll just give themselves shit other ways. Like, okay, I can't make $100 million now on as a paycheck. All right, that's fine. I get a bonus of $100 million now. Oh, you're gonna regulate the bonuses and how much I can get? That's fine. The company will just buy my shit now, and it'll give it to me for business purposes.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
that shit should be
literally.
illegal.
Well, I mean, I'm fine
okay,
with
well-
it. It's just fine. It's fine, whatever. But it's just like, you fucking idiots, just accept that there is a limit to how much money you can ask from someone. There's a fundamental limit that everyone has, where when someone comes to you and says, "Give me your stuff," people will be like, "Well, this is how much I'm willing to give up."
Well, Sign. When you're talking about how that should be illegal, compensation in kind has existed since the dawn of mankind.
Yeah.
And the more you try to regulate it, the more the people will just come up with other ways.
Yeah.
And eventually, if you regulate it too heavily, you're just unable to give anyone benefits whatsoever.
Yep.
Which
I
just makes
know, I get that, but on the other hand, there's got to be a way to make it so that you don't get these, $100 million a year CEOs while Bob the janitor's making $6
Oh
an
yeah,
hour.
it's very easy. So first off, you have to stop accepting thousands and millions of illegal migrants into your country to use as a slave caste. Once you
Pretty much
stop doing
that.
that, wages will go up. And then the next thing you can do is you stop hiring people for political purposes. And once you do that, wages will go up. And because, once the company starts making more money and has to hire people that are actually competent at their jobs, they can start asking for more money from the company because, well, they're good at their jobs and the company needs them.
Now, if you put the most base take, you'll remove the segment of people who don't negotiate for their salary from the workforce.
No,
Yeah.
infinite slave caste labor will still be almost entirely male, and it'll still destroy the labor market.
What?
As an economist, I've actually looked at this. It's literally entirely migration coming in the U.S.
That's
It doesn't have anything to do with women not negotiating. It doesn't have to do with first timers not negotiating.
bro. We already said that.
Huh?
You literally just reiterated my first point.
Well, yeah, no, because Sign said if you remove the section of the population that
No,
doesn't
he said the
negotiate-
most based take is to remove that section of the population.
Yes.
No,
Yeah, we already said remove the illegals, remove the slave caste.
it-
It's implying we should also remove the women.
yeah, that's what I thought you were saying. Is I thought go back to men only workforces.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to see wages go up, that's how you do it. And I'm sorry, but women entering the workforce has drastically reduced the amount of money a man can make in the workforce.
Yes.
Yeah, you doubled the labor force.
Exactly. And now this isn't me. This is not me complaining about it. This is me citing women complaining about it. Women are the ones who complain that men aren't making more. Well, ladies, it's a very simple way to make a man make more than you.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's complaining a lot here recently. They're complaining about not having men worthy of dating them because they make too much money, and very few men actually make more than they do.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's insane. It's just fucking insane. There's a lot of ways to make the janitor make more money. He'll never make as much money as a CEO. He'll never make proportionally as much money as a CEO. But then again, also you got to keep in mind the CEO is also making major decisions that can radically impact the company, which is a great segue into Bud Light and their CEO. And how he has stepped down after another major fiasco, dropping their stocks even harder.
They just can't help themselves.
Yeah. So Bud Light sponsors Cincinnati Pride Parade. I don't know why. It just makes no sense to me why these companies keep doing dumb shit. Because let's pull up Anheuser-Busch stock.
Keep doing dumb shit because they haven't been getting pushback for it for years, and now that they are, they've hired a bunch of people who are unwilling to accept that pushback and pivot on it, apologize, admit they were wrong, and go back to selling to everyone. So they have to double and triple and quadruple down, and they're not going to stop until the entire thing collapses around them.
Of course, yes, because they hired HR people, and you never hire HR people.
No.
Well, you're legally required to now.
Yeah, I know.
Well, not just legally, there's also the issue of money. What is it? The fourth branch of government. I forget who this company is called, but the people who do the loans. And if you don't go with the die bullshit, if you don't go with all that, they don't give you money.
Oh yeah,
It was basically
yeah.
just free money
The
to fucking
ESG
hang out.
score.
ESG score shit. Yeah.
That fund. I forget. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But the ESG fund. Yeah.
Mm.
BlackRock?
No, BlackRock's
It's
part
not
of it.
just
It's
part of it, but
it's
they're
it's a
subsidy.
monetary fund group that judges you on your ESG score, and then they will disperse funds to your company based on your ESG score.
It's like this one motherfucker runs this company, and he and his company are they've been called the fourth arm of the government.
Yeah, because they
Because they have
they have so
control.
many billionaires that invest in them, who aren't making their money back, by the way.
No,
They-
it's entirely for PR and
They've lost
and
trillions of
connecting
dollars.
years.
But yeah, so if you look here at the 1 year mark, we're sitting in January. $60 for Bush stock, and we are currently at $57. So this entire year's worth of gains has just vaporized,
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it's going down quick.
and it's still it's still going down. I don't think it's going to recover anytime soon, because people have just moved on. It's not like an instance of like, oh, you know, people will go back to Target after the controversy's over or some shit like that. It's like people have patterns, and if their pattern gets broken out of buying Bud Light every weekend to buying Coors every weekend, but once the controversy over Bud Light settles, they're not going to go back to Bud Light. They're just going to keep buying Coors because that's what they've been doing for the past, months now.
Yep.
Unless Bud Light drops their prices down to like half of what Coors is selling their
Nope.
piss water.
Well,
No,
they
because
literally
you're
can't.
losing.
They are currently
Yeah.
giving it away for free.
And they can't.
Yeah,
It's
like I was
completely
saying.
filled. It's $15, $15, and it's $15 off, and they can't give it away. They're literally selling it for nothing, and they can't give it away. It's still fully stocked.
Yeah, people
Yeah, they've
won't
pissed people
buy.
off.
People won't even buy free beer.
That's what happens when you finally piss off your customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They decide
Like-
they've had enough, and that's it.
It doesn't even matter if Bud Light makes their beer cheaper than everyone else once the scandals or whatever's over. People are still going to go with the next cheapest just because it's Bud Light.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got here greedflation
Mm.
is real and probably good for the economy, says the Wall Street Journal. And companies are supposedly using inflation as an excuse for big price increases, first quarter earnings suggest. And my response to here is we're going to see a major contraction. I'm no fucking economist, and I'm sure Alvor can, however, back me up on this. Is if you increase the prices on things to the point where people stop buying them, you're going to lose all your fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, what's your take on that shit?
On the contraction / recession, or just on the pricing?
The inevitable contraction recession that's going to happen due to everyone jacking their prices up.
It's
The
been
contraction.
inevitable since the .com bubble burst in the 07-08
Yeah.
was just a it wasn't even as bad as it should have back in 07-08, but it very much depends on how much we can keep kicking the can down the road, and I could not tell you. It could literally all explode tomorrow,
Yeah,
or it could be another
Mm.
20 years.
that's fair.
But
It's going to
I
explode.
definitely
though.
think it. No, I definitely think it's going to be sooner than later because
We've said that for the last damn near 20 years, though.
we have said that for a long time. However, the reason why I think it's going to be that way is specifically because we're finally reaching a point where people aren't able to purchase things.
Yes.
Yeah, fair.
They can't even purchase food because they've got to choose between housing or food. Some people. So,
Like,
and once
It's-
that becomes
yes,
more
was
widespread
it
because
getting
of the rising
worse over
prices,
time? Yes. Were people still able to afford shit over time? Yes. Have we gotten to the point where shit's actually becoming unaffordable? Yes.
Yes.
I have ammunition in
Um,
a deer freezer.
Why do you have ammunition in your
I will say
freezer?
this.
Go ahead.
I will say this. There's someone out there that knows when the big one is coming, and they're not going to tell anyone, and they're going to make more money than God when it comes.
Yeah, and his name's
So-
Warren
Oh,
Buffett.
yeah.
Warren Buffett actually hasn't done as well as he has a reputation for. He made a lot of money, and then because he had a lot of money, he could keep making money. But there's a reason he's not the richest person in the world.
That's fair.
And look, I am not disrespecting Warren Buffett, but he's not the guy to always watch when it comes to the quote unquote big one.
You're right. That's Nancy
Um,
Pelosi stocks.
Unironically,
Hunter
yeah.
Biden.
This is not financial advice, but if you wanted to make a lot of money really safely, just pay attention to what stocks your local senators buy.
Pretty much.
Simple as that.
Fair.
But yeah, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yep.
It's called corruption.
Yep.
Yes.
It's called insider trading, and it's illegal.
Actually, it was only very recently made illegal in the U.S. It used to be quite legally acceptable. I think right now you only get a small fine.
If they can
So
prove.
if the fine isn't taking away the money you made and punishing you financially, then there's really no downside to doing it, taking the money, paying the fine, and then continuing to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's like a couple $1,000 fine. So I'm not even sure it's cost effective to enforce it. Never mind an actual punishment. Like I'm pretty sure it costs more money to carry out investigation and then issue the fine than you would recoup.
Yeah, but it's just another thing they can tack on as a crime to people they don't like.
Yeah, pretty much. The way it works is it's per incident of insider trading. Am I allowed to discuss Trump stuff on the
I mean, we're about to discuss Trump stuff.
Gotcha. Everyone remembers when the Manhattan DA charged him with, was it like 13 counts of business fraud, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, the SEC can do just what that Manhattan DA did. Every single time it's entered into someone's books as you did X, they can hit you with that fine for insider trading. So, you know, you could commit one act of insider trading, but there's, 20, 30, 40 different lines on the balance sheet involved. Well, they can say each of those is an act of insider trading, and we're going to fine you for each of those acts. Maximum punishment for each one. And that's one way they can differentially enforce the law. And there's obviously always discretion, and it comes to what the fine itself should be. So,
Yep. So speaking of, shit getting too expensive for people to withstand, here we go. Chicago, thank you, Chicago, for this amazing opener here. Popular Chicago beach opens, quickly closes after people start shooting each other. Just a reminder that Chicago has the strictest gun laws in the entire U.S.
Don't they also have the most gun-related crimes in all the U.S.?
They do.
Yes. Really coincidentally.
Yeah, it's really weird how that works out. Strictest gun laws, most crime. Weird.
Yeah, now hang on a minute. Let me check something.
Yeah.
What's the current temperature in Chicago?
I don't know. Have you counted how many bullets have been fired?
Because you know how it goes. Temperature goes up, violent crime in Chicago goes up.
Well, of course. John Kerry, however, has come out and has said that farmers need to stop growing food because we need to meet a net zero emission policy now. So speaking about how food's getting
This
expensive.
fucking moron.
Yeah. Personally, I'm also not against John Kerry receiving a French greeting No,
They're
most of the
basically just
West,
coming out and
honestly.
saying they need to starve us now
Yeah,
to
yeah.
lower the carbon, and that the carbon they want to reduce is you.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Which again
Like, throw a mask
is
off.
kind of
Well-
fucked. Like I've always been someone that says we should do this to China, not your own people. But come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
China's starving just fine on its own.
Yes, they are doing a pretty good job of that.
Also,
They've
just
been,
remember,
upping their game.
the Netherlands was merely the testing grounds to see if people would go along with it.
And they did in the Netherlands, which is why it's impressive they're trying to do it in the US now.
Yeah.
Especially
China's really upping their game on it, though.
with how much power the farmers in the U.S. have.
Yeah.
Farmers in the U.S. have a lot less power than you think because a lot of it is government subsidized, especially down here in the South, where they've basically come in and they've said, okay, you will grow corn, but I don't want to grow corn. They slap a farmer in the face with a wad of money and say, you will grow corn or you will not grow anything. Here's more money to not grow anything. And then they take the
Yeah.
money because, farmers got debts they got to pay off. They got to pay off the tractor. They got to pay off that farm. They got to pay
Right,
the
which
farm
is very
hands.
interesting because if the government says you're not going to grow anything now, also we're not going to pay you anymore,
Mm,
the farmers are just going to grow other foods then.
Oh, no, the government's not going to say we're not going to pay you. They will pay them not to grow anything before they stop paying them.
Well,
That is the strategy that FDR was at the forefront of. Although when it came to FDR, he paid them to slaughter cattle and then burn the meat rather than letting it go to market.
Why?
That is so fucking wasteful.
Because something, if we lower the supply, something, prices will go up, something, economy stabilized.
So food
Yeah,
being
but
so cheap you can afford it will destabilize the economy.
Yes.
Oliver, who just left, would be able to go more into this, but people that
yeah.
are into the modern monetary theory think deflation of currency is the worst possible thing that could happen, and they would rather see hyperinflation than deflation.
But that's literally the opposite.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
well-
you have to understand that anyone who studies modern economic theory tends to be retarded.
Fair.
It's not anyone. It's the people that prescribe to specifically modern monetary theory, which is its own thing. That's basically the thing that everyone at the Fed is a follower of. Unfortunately, the people that study economic theories that actually have some grasp of reality tend to be in the minority.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. There's a pretty good reason that academics are one of the first people to get purged whenever a revolution happens.
The intelligentsia, yes.
All right. Well. Yeah, I don't know where they think this is going to go, but I am going to eagerly watch as this blows up in their faces.
I would hope that a lot of those farmers, if, the government money dried up, they would turn around and actually start growing things their community needed and selling directly to the
I would
community.
love that. I would love to see corn go into the fucking gutter. I want to see corn syrup get destroyed. I want to see high
Ethanol.
fructose corn syrup be annihilated. Ethanol additives in our gas gone.
Don't get me wrong, I love corn. I fucking love corn. Corn is delicious.
Yep.
But you need to grow something other than fucking corn. We need literally everything else other than corn.
Yeah. We can't get to net zero. We won't get this job done. This is the other thing about net zero. Net zero makes no fucking sense to me at all. Net zero. Okay, so where are we removing emissions? What industry creates negative emissions?
Oh, they don't. They're just buying it with tax credits, carbon credits, and oh wait, who are they paying that money to? Oh, themselves.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
wait, where's the carbon go? Oh wait, don't plants breathe carbon dioxide?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
the,
if you
well,
know
it's
the
a-
least little bit about
like
actual
honestly,
science.
honestly, genuinely farming is one of the industries I could even imagine becoming a removal of emissions in the grand
Yes.
scheme of its net total. Like the
It is a
net
literal
zero
carbon sink.
implies. Well, this is what I'm saying though. Is net zero implies that there is somehow a way to reduce and remove emissions to the point where the industries that do produce negative emissions can balance out the industries that still produce emissions. That's what net zero means. That the negatives will be
bullshit.
balanced out by the positives. But where's the
Fucking
fucking positives? What industry produces less emissions than they take out of the fucking cycle?
You're saying it backwards, Nikki.
Whatever.
There's the negatives.
You understand my point.
I understand your point.
Like, what industry? None
Well,
of them.
that's with their carbon sequestration and their reforestation planting and all that shit. Their solar and wind, and the
But solar
shutting
and wind
down of the
don't. They
power
add
plants.
more emissions. They are a multiplier
I
of
know.
emissions. They are
Yes,
one
I
of
know
the
this.
worst producers of emissions.
Yes.
But they have said that these are the things that reduce emissions, so that's where you need to put your money.
And they all need
yeah,
to be
by the way,
fucking
they're all
assassinated.
invested heavily in that and making money off of it.
Of course. I
Mhm.
just fucking hate these people.
And no one wants to talk about China, India,
Yeah.
Africa, and so on and so forth. These third world countries, second world countries
Like
that are actually
America
producing.
is by metric volume producing very little emission.
I saw a chart. It's 15% of the world's emissions. Like just yesterday.
Yeah. It's like
Is this what, China or America? What was
America.
it? I missed that.
America.
Yeah, China has way more, and the thing is, all the emissions, yeah, it's all those fucking green energy replacements, but it's also just fucking shipping in general.
yeah.
People saying, "Oh, I'm gonna reduce emissions." Oh, but I'm gonna want this that'll make emissions raise like 10 times more than what I just reduced.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Yes.
not only that, it's not even just pure emissions though. It's shit
Mm.
like India is dumping so much feces into the ocean
Mhm.
that it's
Mhm.
tainting San Francisco water.
It's washing up on Australian shores there, Cass.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Well, it's not about removing emissions completely. It's about making it so that the emissions aren't in whatever country the activists are in, whether that's in America or in the
Yes.
European countries. That's
Yeah.
why it gets shipped off to second and third world countries. A, because it's cheaper, and B, because NIMBY. But then also
Out of sight, out of mind.
yeah, but then, as Kaz said, the shipping just is a
Oh.
multiplier for how much goes into the atmosphere.
Oh shit! Jack Dorsey's dead.
Jack Dorsey.
Wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, the founder of Twitter.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, the skeletons were coming out. He had information on the Clintons.
Yeah,
Why is there a picture of him looking like Ragnar Lothbrok?
yeah, he shot himself twice in the back of the head.
Oh, fucking course
With a
he did.
shotgun?
Yeah, with a shotgun.
I just Googled Jack Dorsey, and the first thing on the top stories I see is 3 days ago, Jack Dorsey shares RFK Jr. videos amid presidential run.
Oh, fucking course he did.
No.
Yeah, Twitter founder
No,
calls for
that's,
the end of the
the case
deep
I'm talking
state.
about is this motherfucker was hanged, shot twice in the back of the head with a shotgun, and they said, oh yeah, he committed suicide. And this
Yeah.
was like here last year.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitter founder calls for end of deep state. It must be scattered into the winds. Yeah, so we're gonna hear about him committing
And then he
suicide
committed
soon. Yeah. Not yet. Hasn't
Whenever you
happened
think
yet,
there's so many
but
posts, I'm not feeling suicidal.
yeah. It's gonna happen though soon now.
Mm.
But yeah, John Kerry here, being a absolute scum-sucking piece of shit who should be dragged outside and committed suicide on.
Mm-hmm.
Guillotine.
So speaking of the administration being an absolute bucket of horse dripping, we have Trump administration officials backing DeSantis for president. That's how it started. How it's going is the entire DeSantis donor strategy session from their Miami globalist retreat has leaked. Team
Oh.
DeSantis knows they're in trouble and claim that 35% of the votes are with Trump no matter what. They tell donors they're
right.
pretending to run to the right of Trump so they can trick MAGA voters to vote for him, and he plans on becoming a leftist if he gets nominated. Fortunately, MAGA voters are much smarter than Rob's swampy consultants think we are. We won't be fooled. Yeah, that's how it's going. He also wants to do such things as pro-abortion.
Mm.
Which
Yeah, his campaign's going in the dumpster real quick.
it's amazing. I'm not
His-
sure why he thought this was a good plan.
My assumption is someone got some dirt on him.
Mm.
Probably.
Either
Possibly.
that, either
Um,
that, or a lot of money.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
it-
should fly with Epstein.
I don't think he did.
Was he
No.
one of?
No, I don't think so.
mm-mm.
I think he was too young for Epstein to be in with Epstein.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I don't know, because he seemed to be, like, I'm speaking as someone that lives in Florida, he seemed to be fairly genuine with the policies that he was going through, and he knew that Trump made his entire political career.
Mm.
So as someone that lives in Florida, it feels like this is such an out of
Unexpected.
nowhere. Yeah, this is such
Yeah.
a like out of left field switch that it either has to be he got offered a lot of money, too much to pass up, or someone's got some dirt on him.
Mm.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
Uh,
I don't know.
It's just a case of them telling him, look, this is what you need to say, but as soon as you get in, this is what you need to do to stay in. I think it was Tim Pool who was saying the other day that the guy would basically get in and immediately start shaking hands with everybody, pull the whole, okay, we need to come together, no more infighting bullshit that every other Republican has done for the last 50 years.
See,
as opposed to cleaning fucking house.
this is why I would have loved to be a politician, just so I can just be like, all right, so I'm in. Great. Thanks for that briefing about all the things I shouldn't say. Proceed to announce all of it.
Yes.
See,
And then just be like, all right, you're fired, you're all fired, I'm shutting you down, you're ended, your funding's cut, fuck all of you.
I know for a fact that if I ever got to the presidency, I would be killed within a week
Oh,
because
absolutely.
my first thing would be to declassify everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shut down the CIA.
Yeah.
Or better scale it back.
Don't care at all what the kind of ramifications I would end up with. Don't care at all. All of it's declassified. I'm announcing it on a fucking YouTube video, on Rumble, on Odyssey, on all the websites. I'm gonna fucking, I will just fire literally everyone. Tell all the agencies that they have a team of 5 people and their max capacity is now 20.
I would like to declassify the CIA hit on Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, didn't they just do that
immediately
recently?
Declassified.
They did do that, and the media talked about it for like half a day and then swept it under the rug.
Yeah, because the school
Wait,
shooting
they fully
happened.
declassified it?
I'm
They
fairly
fully
certain,
declassified it.
I'm fairly certain it got fully declassified. It like didn't get talked about at all because
That school
the
shooting
media doesn't.
happened.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was a fucking psyop that got declassified and then a psyop just suddenly happened to take all the fucking attention off of it.
Yeah.
Possibly multiple.
Yeah, it's typical tricks.
But it is what it is. It is what it is. You were running out of "is what it is." Do you wish to continue?
Yes. Yes, but violently.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Trump right now. I honestly don't give a shit. I honestly
Nah.
could not give a fuck. If it looks like Trump is gonna win, that's great, fantastic. My stocks are gonna do great. If it looks like Trump isn't gonna win, well, we're already fucking sucking shit anyway, so it's not like it can get much worse. I mean, the only way it really gets worse at this point is a full-on societal collapse, and the rich are too invested in that not happening for that to happen at any point in time where they still care. The second the rich can live independently from the rest of us, I'm sure societal collapse will happen.
Yep.
But in the meantime,
Yeah, sign yes.
what the fuck is this?
That is
Is your
modern
tr-
standards.
It's your child and alt-right extremists.
Aversion to drugs, alcohol, and pornography, monogamy with a desire to procreate, interest in physical fitness, spending time outdoors, mental well-being, nation history and culture, classic literature, disdain for postmodernism. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got something to bring up.
Oh, go, yeah.
So Elon Musk's brain chips.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
going into human testing, despite the fact that when they did animal testing, it killed 15 out of 17 monkeys.
They
Not surprised.
they just got to work the bugs out.
Yeah,
That's-
funnily
that's
enough, he
it.
seems to have quite a lot of high-profile investors that have ties to government and things, who seem to be interested in putting brain chips in people. I wonder why.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mark of the beast shit.
Just remember, our future will be a teen romantic fantasy dystopia novel.
Yeah. On the other
Oh,
hand, we can look
God.
forward to Elon Musk randomly sending people never going to give you up.
Yes.
Yes, I would like this quarter of people with our brain chips to be rickrolled in the morning. Make that their morning alarm, please.
That would be hilarious. To be completely honest, that would be hilarious.
And he would go for that.
Oh yeah.
The only bright spot in our fucking in that mental takeover.
I'm not
I'm
getting
just
the
waiting
1.0
for
of
the
any
brain
fucking
chips
thing.
to finally be implemented, and then we start seeing news articles about how many ads on your brain chip are too many.
How many what?
Ads.
Ads.
Any.
They use the brain chip to change your sense of time and perspective,
Well,
so you can get 100
I
ads
think
in
at
1
least
minute.
32 ads every minute is an acceptable number. So since you say none, we'll have to compromise on 20.
No,
No, they'll
no
compromise and
ads.
go. They'll compromise and go 50.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I wouldn't actually mind some kind of neural interface that was A, external, B, worked by like MRI or some shit, and C, just allowed me to move my mouse around and type. That would be fantastic. That would improve my productivity like 3,000%.
Can I use my brain chip to challenge random strangers on the street to Pokemon battles?
You probably could.
All right, I'm all for it.
Our eyes have met. We must battle. Just straight up, just go, Bobcat, and it's like the fucking Bobcat's got its own little headdress on that you're controlling it with. And they're like, oh well, no one's seen my gatey yet. It's a fucking alligator.
No.
Australia has the poison type gym.
Fucking just bobcat versus
Yeah.
alligator. You're both mind controlling the animals into fighting each other.
You've got to travel the world to beat all 8 gyms. Fucking Australia has the poison type. America has the steel fire type for guns.
Mm-hmm.
Europe would probably be the normal type because they're fucking bland as fuck.
Oof.
Yeah, I'll go there.
You didn't have to go that hard.
France specifically will have a sub gym of fairy types.
So, does that mean the Native Americans are going to be the ghost type?
Ghost
Oof.
ground. Ghost ground.
Ghost ground.
China will be the ghost types because of all their daughters and second children.
That's fair.
Oh yeah.
Japan will argue for the steel type, but then
Yeah,
the
but
weaves
nuclear
will
type.
but no, then the weaves will get involved, and whatever type is more anime is going to be fucking whatever type they get.
Dragon.
Nope, they're gonna be the nuclear type.
Yeah.
They will make a new type just for Japan.
Oh, let's go. What was that fucking fan game with the nuclear types?
Persona.
Uranium green.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it. Uranium. Pokemon Uranium.
Persona just has nuclear in it by default, though.
Yes,
Yeah, he was
from
talking about a
one-
Pokemon game, though.
It's a fan game, yeah.
It's basically a fucking Pokemon game, but with plot.
Pokemon is plot.
and
What the
better
fuck? Fuck
Pokemon.
you.
Fuck no.
No.
Plus, it's not in every game. They got rid of it in 3 and 4, so it's not standard. It was only 1, 2, and then 5.
It's not my fault that Atlas is fucking retarded.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Imagine how productive Japan could be if we nuked them one more time.
No, I mean, we already got some weird shit out of Japan after nuking them twice. We don't need to go for round 3.
What about round 4?
Mm.
Oh no.
The 4th time, their degeneracy circles all the way back around to traditional Bushido.
Yes.
Yes, except unfortunately, it's all white people in Japan.
No, it's female-led Bushido.
Listen, I am all for the women in armor.
Oh hell yes. Give
Also,
me swords wielding girls any day.
Russia would be the ice type gym and would be the easiest because ice types are fucking shit. I'm actually now very interested in trying to figure out what each country would have as a Pokemon gym. Fuck.
America is the gun type. We would just
Steel,
make
I
a new
already went
type
there.
just for
Or
guns.
steel. Steel. I already went
No,
there.
guns. Gun, motherfucker.
Japan would actually be fighting type for Bushido because they never stop fighting. Yeah. Makes sense.
So you get hit with the gun.
Yeah.
China
Which
would
is
want
exact-
to claim they'd be dragon type, but we all know they're not.
Like I
Yeah,
said, they'd be
no.
ghost. They'd
Yeah.
be the ghost.
No,
because
they'd
of all
be
their dead children and
insect.
people.
They'd
No.
be insect
Insecting
type.
ghost type. Well, no, though. They're
Fuck
big enough
ghost.
for 2 types. Yeah, they get insect
Yeah,
and ghost.
fucking ghost. Yep.
That works.
Korea would probably be dark type, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that fits Korea.
What's the next thing?
They're all fucking choonies.
Yeah. The real dragon, I would actually say, is Texas, because you don't poke them. Despite the fact that the rest of America is steel, Texas is the dragons.
Well, fits.
Yeah.
Texan freedom.
No.
And
you know what? I'll give,
their signature Pokemon is the steel dragon type Duraludon.
no, you know what? I would give dragon type along with poison to Australia because you're fucking Monster Island down there.
I mean, yeah. And there are poison dragons.
Komodo dragons, yes.
I would just like to
Yeah.
I'm just reminded of a quote The American military fights like from New Jersey, has the pride of New York, and
Yes,
deals with everything
yes.
else with with Texas. So,
Yeah. Uh, um,
but let's see what
Actually,
we got
which-
up next. This is an interesting, thought-provoking one. Gray matter. Too much screen time damages the brain. Neuroimaging
Yes.
research shows excessive screen time damages the brain. This is actually a very old article from 2014. But what's interesting
yes, because
about it,
it's-
yeah, what's interesting about it is
It's
that
true.
it's very true. It's been proven true.
Yes.
Generation
even 20
Zoomer.
years. Yeah, it's been proven since even before I was born. I'm pretty sure in '97.
Well, no, because our generation, as obnoxious as some of the people in our generation is, our generation has mostly turned out to be fairly productive.
Yeah,
It's the
but
Zoomers.
that's because we had a mixture of outside and fucking screens. It
maybe.
reminds me of that It reminds me of that fucking Tumblr post where someone said you spend so much time on your screens, and it's like there used to be 10 p.m. commercials asking, "Do you know where your children are?" Because we were always fucking outside.
Yeah, that's fair.
What are you talking about? We're always on our screens. We only started once we were like teens and stuff being on screens because there was nothing else to fucking do.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's actually an impact right there. Is the baby like going from, because we were all in our teens, late teens. I mean, I started playing when I was like 6, but I didn't have too much screen time.
Yeah, that probably same for me, but that's because my brothers had it and I used to play or watch them play.
Yeah, and again, I would only get a couple hours of it though, because it would be like come home from school, gotta do my homework, gotta do my chores, then I'll eat dinner, then I get like 2 hours, and then I have to go to bed. As a child.
I outside of the whatever consoles the family had, and those were usually in my parents' room. I don't think I got anything until I was like, I got my first hand-me-down smartphone. I was like 16 or 17. I didn't get my first computer until I was already graduated high school.
Yeah. Wait, did we just lose sign?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, basically the same. I had a laptop when I was in the equivalent of high school. I didn't get my first phone till I was like in my mid to late middle school years equivalent. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I actually wasn't really prepared for homework in middle and high school because Australian primary schools only give homework if you don't finish your work. So, because I always finished it in school, I never got any. So I was like, wait, why would I have to do this at home?
Because it's homework. We want you to do it.
Yeah, but I was so used to do it. I was so used to it being that if you finish it in school, you didn't have to do it at home. But then they stopped doing that in like middle high school. So primary school didn't actually prepare me for that.
Well,
yeah, it was the opposite with me. It was they started doing the homework shit really early, and then come about high school, it's like, no, I'm just going to do all this here, and I'm never doing it at home again. So fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, I did spend a lot more time on the computer than people of my age normally, probably.
Yeah.
But it's still, even then, wasn't that bad for me. I'm not addicted to being on the computer or like being on the internet. That's just where my books are. Like that's where all my books are stored.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not addicted to the internet. I'm addicted from escaping from reality.
Yeah, basically, that.
Yeah, but even without the internet, you could still do that by going to the library and picking up books or that sort of stuff.
I did when I wasn't on the internet reading. I was in the library fucking
reading.
Books to escape to.
That's the thing is that that's what my parents realized is like I'm not addicted to playing games or I'm not addicted to the internet. If they didn't allow me to have either of those two, because there are times when they're like trying to ground me, they're like, oh well, you can't play games. I'll be like, okay, and I'll just pick up a book and start reading it for like the next week, and they're just like, okay, clearly this isn't a fucking punishment. No, it's not working.
And even if they took the books away, I would literally just end up escaping into my own mind. And
just nap. Yeah. Exactly. I'll just fucking take a nap
Or
and
even
have some
daydream.
dreams. Yeah,
Or
exactly.
daydream.
It's like, I'm sorry, but it's like, I just did a lot of fucking thinking as a kid, and it just happens that I did that thinking while playing games.
My
Yeah.
math scores were the literal best throughout my entire primary school, just because I used to calculate experience in gold I would need for shit in RPGs.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, same. I do think that's kind of a generational divide, though, because I think that our generation, like,
We had to use our head to play games, though. That's the thing. Now
Yeah.
it's all Fortnite, Roblox, where you don't.
Yeah.
well, I think the bigger point is that I think one of the reasons that there is more productivity and there is less addiction is just because it's that core tenet of escapism. Like, oh, I need to do this work so I can get money so that I can pay for whatever my next escapist fantasy is going to be.
Right.
And then, like, the really young Zoomers are just brain rot from TikTok and all that sort of stuff. They don't have the attention span to have escapist fantasies.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I was basically trying to lead into, is that all of our games, or like really all of our older games, if they weren't shit like Pong, they actually required a significant amount of thought to beat.
Because there was also, they never told you really how to answer it. You'd have to explore. You'd have to think about, would this item solve me this or something like that.
And it's not only
They
that,
didn't hold
it's
your-
shit like Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, you just run in a fucking line, you
Yeah.
bounce on some boxes and shit, but it's like, okay, but if you want to do all of the boxes and you want to get the fastest run, you have to actually sit
You've
there
gotta
and you have to
time
think about it. You have to be like, all right, so if I go this
You've gotta-
direction, jump backwards, then do a backflip, then use my spin attack to get over here, then use that box to bounce over here. Like, you actually had to fucking sit there and think about how to accomplish it.
There's a reason why there's a reason why speedrunning got popular with our generation. It's not just because of access to the games, it's
Yeah.
because we were the best at mapping out the routes we need to do, the best way to do shit like that.
And also because we were the generation that knew the games were imperfect and that we could break them if we pushed them hard enough.
But why
Yeah.
would you have to think about all that shit when you just fucking do it instinctively? You look at it and go, okay, I need to. You don't even think it. You just fucking do the things you need to do those things. You make the calculations without actually thinking it.
Well,
the
yeah,
amount
but
of
that gets
times
ingrained over time. That's not something people just naturally start with.
It's funny the amount of times in things, even more modern games like Near Automata, where I got to a place I shouldn't have
Yeah.
because the air attack gave you just that tiny bit more lift, and I was
Yes.
like, I can use that. And like, there were weapons and stuff where they said, oh, you need to be in the third fucking part of Near Automata to be able to get that, just because you need the hacking or something. And I was like, but I got this in the first part. And they're like, what? How? It's like, you just got that bit of extra lift. You can make your own way there.
The air jumps, yep.
Yeah.
Or even the fucking slow time chip that you can get in Near Automata, which actually really helps with even fucking platforming, because it helps put enemies into the right spot to hit them and get a bit more boost as well.
Mm.
I mean,
Like-
those are all things that the older generation of gamers know. It's only the younger generation who are looking at this and going, "What? You can do that?"
Yeah,
For us, it's
well, it's because that's what I'm saying though.
sense.
Is TikTok and shit like that, where it's all of our content was very long form. So we processed ways to think about shit about long form. And then modern day shit, it's all short form garbage. It's all, TikTok videos, it's Instagram shorts, it's, Facebook posts, tweets. It's all
YouTube
about thinking
Shorts.
small. And so their attention span is fucking minuscule. They don't think about anything because they never grew up being told they needed to or needing to, because now it's like, oh, what's my opinion? Let me go check this 10-second TikTok vid about it. How do I beat this game? Oh, okay, let me go check this TikTok vid about it. How do I,
this
get this
playthrough or
weapon or this playthrough? Oh, let me go check this 20-second video about it. And
Mhm.
instead of like,
short form stuff, but I prefer the longer form.
I'm
Mm.
not saying the short form is bad. What I am saying is that because they grew up on short form content and because all of the games that they played, instead of being these long form, narrative stories where they have, choices you make at the start carry throughout the entire story, a la Kodor and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
They grow up on Fortnite, where nothing you do matters 45 minutes from now.
No.
Yeah, that's
I think that part of the issue simply lies in the various companies that emphasize how important that is, like YouTube making their shorts have much higher priority in the algorithm than long form content.
Yeah.
And making the transition from what I assume to be I assume YouTube's plan is to eventually, still host long form content, but they really want to go for the short form content as much as possible.
Yes.
That's my assumption about their future plan.
With the bloated amount of shorts that are constantly getting more views than actual videos on YouTube, that is just kind of showing that this is the truth.
Well, we've got an entire fucking generation raised by the algorithm at this point.
Yeah.
Where do you think so much of this weird shit is coming from? It's from the algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, especially since the algorithm likes content that fits into a particular niche, which is why you get I don't think the Zoomers are primarily left or primarily right. I think they're primarily just extreme because the algorithm favors really extreme content, ideologically speaking. You get just as much from leftists like Hassan as you do from what's his name, the Romanian guy.
Oh, V.
No, not him. The one that got put on house arrest.
Oh,
No, the guy that was saying.
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Yeah, Tate.
Tate,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah.
Whose weird Twitter is now full of horny anime posts, and I think someone might have taken his account.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we say that, but it's all new pictures.
His anime girl arc is definitely a thing that exists.
Yes.
I feel like that's definitely Andrew spending.
Romanian jail does it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's on house arrest. He's not even in jail. I think he's just going stir crazy because he's stuck in his house.
Well, I think he was in jail for a part of it.
Yeah, he was for a part of it. He's in house arrest now, and I think he's been spending too much time with waifu watchers.
Yeah. No, to be fair though, waifu watchers does put women in a very Tate-like way, so I can kind of see how he could.
How they could bond over that.
How he could succumb to the waifu watcher lifestyle. Because they both have a very interesting view on women, so I can definitely see them bonding over that.
Yes, the weeb and the literal pimp thinking about 3D women in the same way.
Yep.
Who could have seen that coming?
Oh no.
The crossover event no one saw coming. Especially not the women. But yeah, I think, just to get back to it, I think it was just the Zoomers growing up on short form content and these short form games, and just even back then,
It's also stories because the games we played, again, not just maths, but my English scores from learning words just to understand the game I was playing because I liked it so much.
Right.
fucking meticulous.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, in later years I didn't understand shit like some of the essay stuff that we had to do, but that's because it didn't interest me. So
Right. Well, yeah. But and it's interesting because this study is talking about how it's like making high amounts of screen time show a degeneration in the ability to have empathy. It's like, yeah, that makes sense, because if they're watching like 10 bajillion people with 15-second shorts, they're not able to form an emotional bond to anything.
Or even think they formed a bond, like some people who watch all the content of one person and think they perfectly know that
Right,
person.
yeah.
What's that
Honestly,
called again?
it's kind of sad because shorts watching Zoomers have less emotional capacity than the fucking parasocial.
That's a parasocial relationship. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's your simping for e-thoughts.
Yeah, and
It's
so
often VTubers.
so what it ends up being is that these Zoomers just end up turning into these content consumers, which, I mean, you know, I can't be surprised now because they've always been trying to push that into that, you know, mind frame of everything is what's the word, ephemeral. You know, it's all very temporary. Nothing lasts forever, and so instead of like forming basically, you know, a cult around Naruto, they're really into whatever's Fortnite's doing today, and then Fortnite moves on, and so do they. Like there's nothing permanent. There's no, like, I've noticed this in my little brother who's a Zoomer, and I noticed he's just like. He likes talking about the topics I like talking about because I like talking about them, and he has no
personal fucking thought or opinion.
Yeah, he's got nothing on his end. He just sits there to listen to me talk about stuff.
He's like a recording, just playing back whatever he hears.
Yeah, literally, because he'll just be like, "Oh yeah, well my friend said, and I saw a video that said." And
it's
just
never,
like,
oh, I looked this up. It's never, I looked this up and thought something like that. It's always,
it's
my friend, this video, this YouTuber, this celebrity.
Celebrity, yeah.
Yeah,
or even
alternatively, the Discord I'm in says blank, and it's just like he's got nothing going on. Like, bless his heart, he's trying hard. He's out doing track and ROTC and shit like that, so that's great for him. But he's got no opinions.
Or Zoomers going, oh, this indie game I played said I've got depression, I'm suicidal. It's like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah, you get shit like that too. Yeah. Yeah, and it's just...
This self-identifying mental illness bullshit for special snowflakes is fucking ridiculous. All it's doing is fucking up multiple entire generations with psychobabble that even the so-called experts don't understand half the time. And they do. They're like, no, you know what? You can't accurately diagnose this. You can't. To put it in technical terms, IT terms, you can't diagnose broken equipment with broken equipment.
Yeah.
Well, I do always love this because as someone who is in university and knows people that are psych students, listening to them and also listening to some of the things that professors say, and they will self-admittedly go, philosophy is more art than science. And at this point, I've basically come to the conclusion that at best, psychology is applied philosophy. And at worst, it is the equivalent of someone trying to brute force a puzzle. Except the puzzle is a person, and the things you're using to brute force are medications that affect people on a neurochemical level.
Yeah. Yeah, and
of it is applied biology. Like, if you just understand animal and social behavior in animals and people, then yes, you can in fact brute force some things, like understanding what people are attracted to sexually, for instance. Yes, absolutely, those are easy to understand. But then you've got the weird shit where it's just like no one fucking knows. You're guessing.
Well, the thing is, that's why that's one of the reasons that they divided. They made the division of neurology from psychology, because neurology has all the actual hard science stuff to do with the brain and the mind and thought processes and things like that, and the psychology just kind of got everything else. And sad as it is to say, psychology as a profession was probably better off when they were still focused really hard on the foundations that Freud made than they are now.
Well, it's just kind of like I think a big mistake is this extreme push that of people trying to separate themselves from animals.
Mm-hmm.
Where they like, because I just see this happen so much where the people get like this just twisted worldview about how, well, oh yeah, you know, I know animals are suffering from, you know, these chemicals, but it's fine if I use it because, you know, I'm just like better or something. And it's like, no.
But also at the same time, the same crowd will tell you that things like, oh, homosexuality is natural because because some
Yeah,
animals
because
have
some
it.
animals do it, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, okay, so either are we animals or are we not animals? And I just find it really fucking funny about how much shit in the, you know, society you can if you follow the trail, you can follow it back to animal instinct to blank. And people just refuse. It's like I was telling this funny story with a sign the other day of, you know, I was at one of my old jobs. I was laughing about you know, women wearing makeup to the office when the office we're in doesn't do public facing stuff. Like no one in that office ever sees anyone that's not also a coworker of that office. Right? So there's no need to be presentable. You know, there's no need for literally anything besides, you know, adhering to company standard dress codes. And that's just because it's just company standard dress code, right? But then all of the women, we were laughing about how all the women seem to go the extra mile and make themselves extra pretty every day. For what? And you know, one of the women gets grumpy and huffs and stamps over to me, and she's like, "Oh, that's not why I do it. I do it to feel you know, presentable." And then I'm just like, presentable for who? And she kind of just blue screens because she's like,
At work, yeah.
who is
presentable
she
for
trying
who?
to make herself presentable for? If she's not trying to make her presentable, or if she's not trying to make herself presentable for the other men that are in the work, then who's she trying to make herself presentable for? Because it's not for clients, because they don't show up here. It's not for her boss, because her boss doesn't show up here. But if she's trying to make herself presentable for her boss, that means she's trying to use attraction to get herself a better job. You know,
I think a lot of them don't even really realize why they fucking do it. They just do it because that's the cultural zeitgeist.
oh, I know. That was sort of my point, though. You know, is that just like it's funny how people will refuse to admit that they're like animals, and then like they'll make fun of peacocks for preening as they put on makeup. It's like, okay,
Yeah, alright, so
Well,
how are
aren't
you
these
not one of
people
those
being
fucking peacocks?
yeah,
They are not one of those peacocks because the peacocks that preen are males.
well, yes, but you know,
Oh no,
Yeah,
it
but they
was
probably don't
Frank
fucking know
has.
that. They probably don't fucking know that, though.
yeah, they probably don't. Yeah, no, it's just kind of funny. It's just kind of funny that people refuse that sort of shit. But what it leads to is it leads to all of this wild medication, because all these psychologists have it in their head that they're like, we're somehow like triumphing over nature with these chemicals. You know, these artificial chemicals that we're
Our
giving
version
people.
of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it is, at the end of the day, no, nature still fucking wins at the end of the day, because these people still have shit wrong with them, and these chemicals didn't fix it because, of course, they didn't fix it, because you couldn't fucking diagnose the proper thing.
I do want to point out that the fact that psychologists do try and overcome nature feels to me like a weird intersection. Like even psychologists that aren't necessarily leftist, as rare as that is a weird intersection with Marxism, because that was something that Marx went on and on about, with how communism's main goal was to overcome the nature of not just humanity, but also hyperindustrialization was a major part of it, because that was the triumph over nature and the base aspects of survival that were required of humanity. But also, that's probably just me being
No.
weird academic.
Fucking all psychologists end up becoming leftists because they just get this warped worldview, and bless Faceless's heart, but I'm sorry, but the reason why he's not in the politics channel is because every time he's opened his fucking mouth, he has gotten obliterated politically.
Yeah.
He used to be in the politics channel long before you showed up, Orf. But he used to try and participate in the politics channel, and he got his shit kicked in every single time to the point where he stopped showing up. Because
I can only imagine, especially if that was back before Remy went. I'm not actually. When he went full lib right before he stopped being.
He was more central.
Poster.
Yeah.
Was he more central before? Because when I came in, he was.
He used to be lefty.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's done the full transition.
Yeah, he went from lefty to central to full right, I believe. And that's what I got from my lurking since 2017 or so.
Yeah. And it mostly can be contributed to me because back in the day I was extremely aggressive when it came to politics.
Yes, I believe so.
Back in the day.
No, you don't understand.
More like he spent more time in the politics channel than basically anyone, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
He was like full open about his views and
I would quite literally throw down with anyone who said I was wrong, and guess what? Yes. I won every single time.
Yes.
And that's why Faceless ended up not going to the politics channel either anymore, because as it turns out,
he faced down with Sneaky multiple times, and he was wrong.
Yeah,
times.
he just came up wrong every single time, because all these fucking psychologists, they just get it in their heads that they've somehow figured out the human psyche. And Faceless does good things with his psychology. He's helping kids that have problems, and that's great. But it doesn't change that he has the same political views. It doesn't change that he is going to likely go on and promote this toxic ideology to children who are in a vulnerable position, because he thinks what he's doing is the right thing.
As far as I have been able to tell, there's but a single good psychologist in the entire world.
And what is that?
Jordan Peterson.
That's fair.
Yep.
But to be fair, even then, Jordan Peterson's he's weak.
Oh, I don't disagree there. I do like the things that he's espousing. I like that it's helped a lot, from what I can tell, a lot of young men.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, no. The shit he says is amazing. It's fantastic. It's right on the money. It's insightful. It's intelligent, but he's weak. He goes out there. His wife's having issues, and he just starts crying because people needle him about it. It's like, I'm sorry, but if you think that this is not going to be an issue that you're going to be able to just, grit your teeth and get through on, then don't appear publicly until you can get over it.
Yeah.
Because you showing up in the middle of an interview and you just start fucking crying, that's not good PR. That's not good. Like, that undermines all the shit you've said up until now.
Pretty much.
And and other shit like that, where he's just started accepting, like, yo, okay, fine, okay, government, okay, yeah, I'll do what you say now. He's like, oh, I won't say the words, I won't call people by the thing, but I will, because I don't want to be fined.
Mhm.
And it's just like, he doesn't fucking stand up for any of the shit he actually says.
No.
The fire and brimstone Peterson rants from back in the day are all gone now, because he's secluded himself into these one-on-one interviews with people that think like him.
Yeah.
And that's all he does now.
Yep.
He's lost his fire.
Yeah, and it's just, I'm sorry, but we need a Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
No, we need a.
Not even a Marcus Aurelius. We need a Valentinus who fucking got so angry he died from a burst blood vessel.
Yeah,
I
but
And
don't-
fought and
I don't
fought and
think-
fought.
what I'm saying more is we need more of a philosopher king. We need an actual,
Yeah.
genuine philosopher
No.
king, a guy who is
Yeah.
absolutely a Chad in both physical, spiritual,
Mm.
emotional, just all across the board.
No, we
Yeah.
need a Hadrian.
I think that
I think it's Trajan.
I think that as much as I like Marcus Aurelius,
Yeah.
you know that
do.
he is probably my favorite philosopher. I don't think Marcus Aurelius is what we need. Marcus Aurelius is
Mhm.
many things. Among them is far too even-tempered and disciplined to actually.
Right, but you understand.
against.
I don't mean. Okay, so I don't mean literally a Marcus Aurelius XP. What I mean is we need someone who has opinions and then follows through on those opinions and can present a good image throughout the entire thing, and doesn't
Yes.
leave his enemies any room to really complain or undermine him because of how his presentation is and how thorough he is in crushing the people that naysay him.
A strong,
Yes.
charismatic leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who sticks to his guns, basically. We haven't had
Yes.
one of those in a long
Haven't had one
while.
of those in a very long time.
The last time we had one of those was General MacArthur.
Yeah.
Trump came close.
Trump came
Trump
close.
was almost there. He was almost there, but
Almost.
unfortunately, the thing that made him almost get there is the thing that held him back. His
He didn't
egotism.
have the follow through. That's the problem.
Yeah, he didn't have the follow through, and he had massive egotism problems.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, his egotism is part of.
That's why I
What
said it
makes him
brought him
so
to that
great.
point, but it was also holding him back, because there's
Yes.
multiple times where he just would go out and do some really stupid shit, and then because of his massive ego and his inability to think of anything beyond what he's doing being the correct thing, he was unable to take any form of criticism from his supporting base.
The problem with that being that he surrounded himself with a bunch of bad people who was filling his ears with.
And then
This
listened to
shit-
that shit because they praised him while
and-
doing so.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then he didn't actually take the advice of his base saying, these people are out to fuck you, you need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, see, not all the people he surrounded himself with were like that. It's just the people that weren't also left
They
of
got
their own
ousted.
accord.
Yeah.
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 People like, what's his name? The Breitbart guy.
Andrew Breitbart?
No, not Andrew Breitbart. The guy who was the main editor of Breitbart that joined Trump's cabinet.
Fuck.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Like, after he
Yeah.
left Trump's cabinet, he went on to do like a shadow campaign for the next 4 years to get conservatives in local offices across the United States.
Yeah.
Alex Marlow? That's it?
No.
I don't know who you're talking about.
It's not Marlowe. It was. I'll see if I can find him. I can.
Are you sure it's not Andrew Breitbart?
It's not Andrew Breitbart because Andrew Breitbart died, I think, a while back. Bannon, Steve Bannon.
Oh, Steve Bannon. Yeah, right. Yeah, he
yeah.
also left Breitbart, I think.
Yeah, he left Breitbart to join Trump's cabinet, and then he got
He never went back.
ousted. Yeah, because they
No.
argued, and then after he left, he went to like a bunch of different places in the U.S. and helped out with their local elections and got conservatives in local offices, which is probably the real fight, if we're being honest.
It is. It absolutely is.
Presidency has a lot of PR,
Yeah.
and it's the position, the political position that everyone in the country knows about, but getting changes on the local level makes a whole lot more difference.
The problem is most people aren't interested in their local level politics.
Yeah.
To the point where they don't even know when their local elections are. They don't know who the people are.
You are preaching to the choir
Yeah.
as someone who's one of my majors is political science.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is infuriating.
Also,
little people care.
as far as a Hadrian-like figure goes, the thing is that that might be coming soon. It might become 110 now,
Yes.
because there's a lot of people in my area. I'll start talking to them, and somehow we'll talk about the group. I don't bring it up; they do. And pretty much every single person so far I've talked to has at some point brought up the group and how much they hate them. And we're talking straight normies here. We're talking griller level normies.
Yeah.
Living in the deep south, we have a lot of pro the group, people, pro that country people. But even now, we've got a bunch of them who are kind of understand. Okay, look, why are we spending $4, $5, $8 billion on this country that's apparently giving us literally nothing? That is spying on us. That's fucking us over. That's no.
I think
that group is what's in charge of the higher up of America.
Citizenship.
I do think that one of my favorite things coming in as a freshman here, because I got put in the upperclassmen dorms because I was older than the normal freshman. And one of my roommates, I was talking to him, and I found out later that he's the son of a Fed. Was probably the most lib-right person I had ever met, that I have met here on campus. And in our opening conversation, when we were first getting to know each other, he brought up USS Liberty.
Oh.
Wow.
To like a guy that he didn't know and he wasn't sure about what the social consequences of talking about that was, or even knew if I knew what that was talking about. So that was an amazing first experience here. Unfortunately, the rest of the experience here on campus has not quite lived up to that hype.
Well, you're on campus, so take what you can get.
Yeah.
God, college was so different back in my day. There was none of this bullshit. Well, I say none. They were just starting to roll out this bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never went to college because I never wanted to be a lawyer,
the
a doctor,
year
or a
after I
politician.
left my college, they rolled out everyone having to wear name tags on campus with your gender pronouns on them.
What the fuck was that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't even
2017.
wear the uniform I'm supposed to wear when I go on call as an RA. There's no way I would remember to do that.
A uniform?
They have like a shirt that the housing department gives you that you're supposed to wear when you go on rounds.
Lame.
So people know that you're with the housing and residence life. Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah.
But also, I just wear decently nice clothes anyways, and my jacket happens to have similar colors to the university's colors, so I think my supervisor is like, whatever. But yeah, it's
Yeah. No.
although My experience might not be the most indicative since I am still going to a university in Florida in a city that's
Yeah.
actually red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not. No.
There's a red city in Florida?
Oh yeah.
Yes, there's one whole red city in the entire United States.
And it's in Florida.
Really? Which city is this?
This is Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yep, Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, that explains it.
Yep.
Yeah, because Jacksonville has like all it's a big city and it has a sports team, but is entirely business focused. So you wonder why it's still staying red this whole
Entirely
time.
business focused, somehow is still red, makes a profit. I wonder if these things are related.
Did I ever tell you, Sign, what happened during the Summer of Love here in Jacksonville?
No.
Did they say fuck around and find out?
Someone on the first night slashed a cop's throat. The next day, they brought out APCs.
Oh, yeah, not surprised.
That's a fuck around and find out, all right.
Yeah, so
when y'all had zombies eating people's faces off. So.
That was a good time.
That was in Central Florida. Anything around or south of Orlando, don't go to.
Yeah, it's like going south of I-10. Don't do it.
Yeah, North Florida is generally speaking okay. The Panhandle is a bit too touristy for my tastes, but it's the Panhandle, so what are you gonna do?
Retirees are.
Yeah, I think I talked about this a little bit on the last stream, but here in Jacksonville, there are gated communities of just retirees that have really good gated communities in some terrible parts of town.
You did. Like there'd be trash trailer parks with families of 6, all druggies and stuff like that, and then there'd just be a gated community where if anyone got close, they got taken down or even shot or something like that. You did bring this up.
Yeah, they've got armed security guards at the gates, and you have to have a reason to go inside. But yeah, so the retirees here in North Florida definitely have a considerable amount of influence.
Yeah.
No, not surprised.
Well, gentlemen, I think we've run out of topics to talk about. Unless anyone else has something else.
Well, there's the phase drama you posted, but that's about it.
Yeah, we can talk about the phase drama for a quick second. So the phase drama, I mean, I don't really have an article to bring up. We have the Asmongold video, but I'm not going to fucking watch that. Well, watch that on podcast.
We don't want to become a reaction channel.
Not until we have at least someone to react with.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
None of us show our faces, so we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does also bring up an issue.
Yeah. But anyway, so basically the whole gist of the phase drama is recently a new phase member got added to the roster and their intro got leaked before their debut date. And this has all of the phase streamers up in arms.
Yeah.
Because they're really pissed that some fucking actress, some random bitch is getting a membership when they had to work hard and their contracts suck and they have to basically fight the FaZe clan every step of the way to get in, and she just gets paid to come in.
And what does she bring in?
She brings estrogen. In her own words, she was literally asked in her intro, she's asked, well, what do you bring in to the FaZe clan? And she goes, oh, well, you see, I think I bring estrogen. Because gaming is a guy's sport. It's a guy's space. And so I think it's really hard for women to get into it. And we need to break the glass ceiling on women playing video games. And it's like there's no glass ceiling. It's not a hard thing for women to get into. It's just when you have... Well, no.
Maybe not in esports and competitive. There's not much women, but the amount of women is actually considerable.
You don't understand. There was attempts in the past
for
women to join in, And
they got destroyed.
they made women teams. They made they added women to the roster, and they got destroyed because
It's not even they
guys.
got destroyed. No, it's not even they got destroyed. It's that they never took it as seriously as men did.
Well, they got
Men
destroyed.
who are
But that's what I'm saying,
doing-
though. But
men-
that's what
Men
I'm
who are
saying,
doing
though.
80-hour practices
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that guys
Women
will
just-
look at, oh, I'm gonna play Dota for a living. I'm gonna practice 100 hours a week. I'm gonna get off on 4 hours of sleep for the next 3 months before the international, and I'm gonna practice so much fucking Dota. I'm gonna be eating and thinking about Dota. And then the women see this schedule and are like, oh, well, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, didn't one of the women teams only do like 45 minutes of practice because the rest of the time they spent just arguing with each other?
Yes.
That sounds like it's true.
Yeah, there is. It is just like it's peak. It's also peak funny because there's one team that brought a woman on because she was actually pretty good at Dota. So they bring her onto the team.
And she destroyed the team because
she-
she was sleeping with all the other team members.
Within
Yeah, I
3
remember that.
months, she had slept with all of the team members and the captain and the manager, and stopped showing up for practice, and was basically using the fact that she was sleeping with them to get stuff. And then once they all confronted each other about it, the team collapsed.
Didn't the entire team break up?
Yep,
and
they all
no
broke up.
longer-
These guys were friends for over a decade,
And they got destroyed by one woman.
who literally was just a thought. Yeah.
Yes.
The Enkidu Gambit.
Just like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's hilarious and sad at the same time because it's just like women are out here saying, "Oh, we're just as good as men," but in every single competitive environment we get destroyed. Okay, well we're not thirsty all the time. We don't think about sex all the time. Every single time a woman is in an environment with a lot of guys, she ends up fucking all of them, and she destroys the friend group. Wow, how does it happen every single time?
It's almost like women have one thing on the brain.
Yeah, and it's the funniest shit ever because I saw the Reddit story as well that got posted on your server, and that shit's just so fucking funny. Woman, large group of male friends, they're all just friends. It's whatever. One day she starts dating some dude, not in the friend group. That guy is super Tate pilled. He tells her that the only way guys and girls can be friends is if they don't talk about
if they're
sex
fucking.
ever at all, and the second sex is brought up, that's all they'll think about.
Yep.
And she didn't believe him, so she went around, texted every single guy in the friend group that she just broke up with her boyfriend, she was looking to be comforted, and wants to know if they wanted to fuck her.
Mm.
And every single guy said yes. And
As
so,
they
so she got pissed at all of them. She's like, I can't believe you would have sex with me after I offered it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, what?
I mean, the
Yeah.
bar for a guy having sex is generally pretty low.
The bar for a guy
Especially-
having sex is literally the woman offers.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
you met the bar.
Well, no, woman offers and not being a fucking land whale for me.
Okay, well, yes.
Some people have standards.
Well, that still remains though. Is you can just because they meet the bar of they offered, doesn't mean you have to accept.
Yeah, fair. I got my own. They offer, you don't have to accept because you can have the standards of please be average.
But you can be friends with a woman for a very long time and not pursue her romantically because
Yes.
for whatever reason you're like, oh well, I don't want to fuck her. Maybe
But
you
if she
do want to
offers
fuck her,
sex-
but you're like, oh well, I don't want to ruin our relationship by me
Thing is,
trying
if
to
she
fuck her.
offers sex,
But
if she
yeah,
offers sex, no one who isn't gay is going to say no unless they're completely unattracted to her.
right,
Like
exactly,
they see her so much like a family or sister that it feels like incest and you're disgusted.
right,
Are they?
That's it.
And they are absolutely 100% loyal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or with someone, obviously, they're in a committed relationship.
Mm.
Well, usually sometimes,
Then,
yeah,
even if they're in a committed relationship, they're probably going to say yes anyway.
yeah.
Mm.
Is what it is. But it's just like You know,
The moment the woman offers sex, then it's over. The platonic relationship is over.
it actually made a lot of people pissed, by the way, to get back on the topic of the gaming stuff. It made a lot of
Mhm.
people pissed because the women group got an automatic invite despite placing,
Yeah.
like... Despite
Didn't they
placing... It was somewhere around, like, the 60th mark in terms of
Yeah.
teams. They got an automatic invite to the top 16 teams.
To Worlds,
Yeah.
to Worlds, didn't
So,
it?
so what you're telling me is the 60-something place team kicked the 16th place team out of the tournament.
Yes,
Was it?
and the best part was they got destroyed by randoms.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
both League and Dota let the last two positions on the bracket get decided by random tournaments where random people can submit their wanting to join, and you can do a pre-made team, and then you can also do the wild card team where you and 4 other completely random
Yeah.
people are put
And the
together as a
wild
team.
cards destroyed them.
And the
didn't they?
wild card team beat the female team with supports. Not even characters that normally do the big damage.
Yeah.
They beat them with supports, and they had to disqualify the wild card team because they felt it was unsportsmanlike to sit in the base for half the time.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah. They... So
Didn't
to
they
be-
defeat them with half a team? Like half
Yeah.
the team sat in the base and did nothing, and then they still destroyed them.
They would rotate out so they wouldn't get the dropout timer.
Yeah.
But yeah, they literally they styled on the female team so fucking hard with heroes that aren't supposed to do what they were doing.
Hmm.
It was completely disrespectful, and I understand why they were like, okay, yeah, guys, we have to hit you with a bad manners
Mhm.
disqualification.
No,
No.
they shouldn't have done that. They should have gone, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. These people we brought in, we did it for diversity. They were so bad that they got styled on this hard. I'm sorry, this was a mistake. But
Oh
no,
no,
they're
don't
never
get me
gonna
wrong.
admit
The
that.
diversity team also got kicked out, but the team that did it, basically, they were told that they should have just won.
Worlds. Yeah, not going to Worlds because you should have just won.
Yeah.
And because you were
That's-
unsportsmanlike, didn't they bring in the 16th place team that got kicked out in the first place?
Yeah, they ended up just
Yeah.
bringing the team anyway.
And they were like, "Hey, we're sorry. Can you come back?"
It was such a fucking disgrace.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's just the saddest shit ever. And now in Dota, they're talking about creating a women's league.
No,
Oh,
to
but
be
it's
fair,
such
that
a
can work
transgender-
if you find that can work even without the transgenders if you find women who are actually passionate about the game.
Well, see, here's
Right,
the
but
thing
there's
you always
not
got to
enough.
remember. Here's the thing you always have to remember. In sports, there is never a men's and a women's division. There is always a division anyone can join, and then a women's division.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And the women don't join the anyone's division. But the thing is, it's in video games it's different because I look at all the even people to bring up earlier speedrunners.
Yeah.
There are speedrunners who verse each other in lockout bingos, races and stuff.
Yeah.
And the women do just as well as the men because they've got the passion and put in the time.
Yeah.
Which means if
Now-
you find someone with the passion of League or
No,
Dota,
No. To be
No,
fair,
no,
there
no,
is
see-
a limit on that. See chess, for example. There's a
Yes.
reason why no female Grand Chess Master has beaten the male Grand Chess Master.
I will say this. I feel like I 100% get where you're coming from, Kaz. And I love watching speedrunners. I feel like speedrunning's a bad example
it's a
because
terrible
anyone that becomes a speedrunner is already insane.
Yeah. Also that.
They
True. But so is anyone who plays League
Also,
or Dota.
speed running is it's very limited. It's there is the techniques to speed run, and it's just about your mastery of those techniques for that specific game. Things like Dota and League are a little bit different. It's a lot more like chess because you have to predict what their moves are going to be, so you can make your moves that will make them make the moves that you want them to make, so you can counter the moves that you want them to make.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
that
will
starts
say
to
that
Yeah.
there's a bit more than muscle memory when it comes to speedrunning, but you're not wrong in the abstract
Yeah.
about the comparison.
Yeah,
Um,
because
and also
because the thing is, a lot of the I'm talking about like the Elden Ring, Dark Souls speedrunners mainly, because it's
That's
not
fair.
just like
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's your own skill with those limited resources.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's fair,
sometimes
yeah.
there's patterns, but they don't always follow the pattern one to one. They'll never always do that. They'll never always do this. So
Yeah,
it's
but
like
I still think it's not a great example because you
no,
are
I
still
don't
working
think-
with purely AI.
yes, but I also don't think that it's like I don't think the women should face the men, but I think they can have a successful women's league.
Oh,
in,
I'm
like,
not
League
saying
and
that. I'm
Better.
not saying they can't have a successful women's league. I just think it's not going to be successful because you're not going to find enough women.
Very true. That's actually yes, that is.
And also the reason why you can even have a league in the first place is because people will watch it. And
It's also
um,
plus that also reminds me of the VTuber who gave up League because two people on stream sniped and left her there for 6 hours or so, and then she got banned for it. Who was that again? It was
Wow.
it was a Japanese streamer, VTuber, I think, or a Chinese one, and two Chinese guys on a team had two of their friends on her team and spent the entire time literally just fucking abusing her in League,
wow.
and then made it so that they reported her for throwing, despite the fact they made the game go on for 6 hours, and then League banned her.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Ugh.
Yeah.
first problem was playing League.
Yeah, was
Yes.
that. But it's more to the point.
I blame Arcane for that.
It's
Good show, but
you know, you're gonna encounter this shit as a guy too. You're gonna encounter malicious actors as a guy. And unfortunately, how it goes is people don't give a shit, so you don't ever see any of it making the news ever. You know, so it's and then to the point of the women's league of like no one's gonna watch it. I'm sorry, but if you promoted it as just another you know tournament that's being held, that's fine. People would probably watch it then. But if you're like, oh, this is the women's tournament for the women because they're women and they're all here for women because women.
No one's gonna fucking
The
watch
average
that.
gamer is gonna look at that and be like, okay, yeah, bye.
yep.
Or
Well,
they're
it's like
gonna
the
be there
women's-
specifically to see if they can like break the chat system to troll.
Yeah.
that.
Like,
Or
it-
they'll make the
sport.
women all attractive rather than people who actually play the game. So like,
oh yeah, that's the other thing
I'm
though.
horny?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just really funny because it's just not going to happen. It trying to advertise it as just another tournament bracket is not going to work because A, the people behind it are ideologically motivated to do it, and B, everyone's going to see through it. It's like, okay, so if it's just another tournament bracket, then why can't Team Spirit join? Oh well, we're full. It just so happens that all the teams we allowed to join and just so happen to all only be women.
Yeah.
Of course.
Invite only tournament bracket.
Yeah. So it's a no-win condition. Because unfortunately, as it is you're not going to find enough women to make a pure women's team to compete with the pure men's teams, and putting a woman, because again, the story about the woman sleeping her way through the whole team, she was a very good Dota player. Like it's not like she was like mediocre and she fucked her way in. No, they brought her in because she was one of the better Dota players, and then she fucked her way through anyway.
yes.
So
Because they can.
because women.
Mm.
Well, no, I mean honestly, to be real for a hot second, and then we're going to close out the stream. The reason why she probably fucked her way through all the guys is because she was spending an extremely long period of time with all of them in an enclosed space. And she thought she was attracted to them. Because, Well, because her body was like, well, you
Mm.
keep spending time with these 4 guys,
Mm-hmm.
so you must be attracted to them. And
Yep.
so she then tried to sleep with all of them, did, and then the team shattered.
Mm. She had the skills for the Dota, but she didn't have the discipline for the
Effectively.
competitive scene.
Yeah, effectively. And then there was the other woman that joined up, and then complained about the 80-hour work week that was expected out of
Yes.
her and left.
Mhm.
You know, it's just shit like that. When it's like, unfortunately, the all-female team that got created, they got stomped on. Why did they get stomped on? Because they didn't put in the practice time, so they just weren't as good as all of the other
As-
teams putting 80, 90, 100 hours in.
Or even not even the other teams, but the fans who are fans of the game and even put in like 40, 50 hours.
Yeah, and so it's
Or
just
less.
unfortunate, but this is just how it is. People
Mm.
that spend a lot of time on the subject end up being good at it by just
So
sheer
they get
dint.
away with being casual gamers and play at a professional level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, guys are far more likely to devote their lives to a
one
single
thing.
subject to become really good at it, because guys can get obsessive like that. And you know,
Yeah.
even if it's just a casual thing, like, I just want to be clear here, as just a absolute Dota casual, I have put 6,000 hours into Dota 2.
Yes. When Among Us first released and then all the mods, I put literally in a game that that is completely like not that fun to play, I put in 500 hours.
Yeah, like, guys will just put in a shit bucket of hours into one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just do that and be happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah, that's
mean,
typical.
Even when I was completely pissed off at the game I was playing, I was like,
Yeah, still
"Fucking hell,"
playing it.
I was raging, I was hating it, and then all of a
Hate
sudden I was like,
Valve,
all right,
hate
when we're
Dota,
starting the next
hate
game,
my fucking teammates. Next game.
when we going for
I
the
mean,
next game?
it's not even
Fuck,
just
I got the killer
for-
again. Fuck,
It's
I'm
not
killer again
even-
with a shit teammate.
It's not even just
do this.
for
Yeah.
We always
for
try to win.
multiplayer stuff,
Oh.
because
Oh well, no, I'm not
Um,
saying it's just multiplayer stuff. I'm saying, like, you know, the one, you know,
Probably.
for Gray, for example, just fucking loves painting shit, and he's just spent a shitload of money and time painting fucking models.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, also there's a joke amongst the EU4 community, which is after the first 1,000 hours, you've completed the tutorial.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Um,
it's just that's the way it is with guys, is that we'll just put a shitload of hours into the one thing we liked.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
And,
Especially if we have some little amount of natural talent in that.
and you
we
know, and God
we don't
forbid,
even do good. We do decent. We do decent at something, not even good.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're like, we can be the best at this. Let's put in the hours.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing.
Or if it's got something that interests you, because like I know that like
Mm.
there's similar things with each of the Paradox games. It's like if that's the era of history you're interested in, you'll put 2,000-3,000 hours. And I think between Remy and me and Gray, like the three of us have over
10 over 10. Yeah, over 10.
10,000 hours.
Yeah, I'm
in
not surprised.
EU4.
hmm
Like just EU4, not the other games, because I know the three of us play various amounts of the other games as well. But
Yeah, I got introduced to Shell Shock through the SDM playing it with you guys.
Oh yeah.
I got over 100 hours before I stopped playing that.
Yeah.
Before I quit. And that to me is nothing for a game or something that gets my attention.
Oh, absolutely no. Yeah, that's just the wild thing. Though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Though is like, you know, God forbid you put like a fucking pot of money at the end of the rainbow for a game or something
yeah.
like. Can you imagine what fucking like competitive model painting tournaments would end up like with those people, where they'd just be like, the amount of fucking autism and focus being implemented by the guys, and it's like, oh yeah, but the girl won because girl.
If I see a game and I see the average male playtime is less than 5 hours, I think that game is a shit house.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I fucking hated Far Cry 6. I ranted about how much I hated that game.
You
I
did?
still put 16 hours in it.
Yep.
It's like, man, I fucking hate this game. Still
That means
playing
it was hated, but it wasn't fully a shit game. There was something about it that kept
and
you in
then
there.
eventually I was just like, I couldn't even get to Act 2.
Fan fiction. That fucking Game of Thrones Dragons cub or whatever
Yeah.
fic I told you that was shit about. I got 126 chapters into that out of 194 before I fucking had enough and gave up.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just the sheer focus and the amount of time and effort that a guy will put in, because if he's told that, hey, if you win this
There might
tournament,
be something at the end.
you get $3 million at the end of this tournament, you get your face on something, you get a medal for being good at this thing. Holy shit, the amount of guys that tried and failed, literally uncountable.
Forget the $3 million. If I get told, hey, for winning this, you're going to get complimented, I will put in the fucking hours.
I mean, it's your homegrown soccer games for you, but yeah, it's like I'm sorry, it's like that's just biology. It's not even like go literally anywhere in the world and you're gonna find guys doing the exact same thing. It's not a fucking cultural thing. This is just biology.
The only ones, actually, it's technically a nature versus nurture thing, because the only ones that don't are nurtured and get anything they want and don't have to wait or put in time for anything.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that's less nature versus nurture and more they never wanted for anything. That's more they had so many resources they never really had to work for anything.
But also I do like the back during the 2017, and maybe it's still ongoing. I haven't seen much of it yet, but those like lists of things that are part of white supremacist culture, and competitive spirit was always on there.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
Like guys that compete or want to compete are like that's an aspect of white supremacist culture. That's not an aspect of every culture that's ever existed.
No, just white supremacy. We infiltrated it into all of the Asian cultures and all the African cultures. That's just how good white supremacy is.
Yeah, just like physical fitness.
Yeah, and time.
Time management.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll end this here, gentlemen. Shockingly, we both have no viewers and
One,
still
which
aren't
is me, a
banned.
moderator.
Yeah,
Did
but yeah,
we lose the bots?
we lost the bots. We
No,
even lost the bots.
No, 01 Ella is still here. It's just she doesn't count as a viewer.
Yeah.
We lost Drapsnat, the FBI agent. We went from 2
rip.
to 1.
Rip.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh,
Your FBI agent is getting de-radicalized, Sneaky.
Unfortunate. Yeah, he had to take off a couple days. But you know what, gentlemen? We'll meet back up here next Saturday because we're probably incorrect and still not banned.